Back again today with part 7 of the Beard Resonator guitar kit construction. I'm Gary Clardy and of Clardy Guitars, and today we're going to be bending the binding that goes around the outside of the guitar at the top and bottom edges, and we're going to be using this figured maple binding. So the first thing I'm going to do is take a piece of cardboard and lay it on my slat, this stainless steel slat. And what slat does is it keeps the binding supported everywhere so that it doesn't break. I'm going to basically put all of these together just close and get them lined up. I'm going to take a piece of tape and tape them down so that they'll stay together and won't flip up on the edge or whatever. And the reason I'm doing this on this piece before I wet it is so that the tape will stick. And I'm going to take, I've got some distilled water here, I'm just going to kind of wet that a little bit. I may just flip this up on the edge so I can make sure that there's a little water in under that. It doesn't take much. Then we have the other piece. I'm going to put a little water on it to get it to relax. Again, it doesn't take very much. And I will cover that, the binding. What we're doing is just making the sandwich. I have a silicone heating blanket. Goes on there. And then the final steel slat or stainless steel. And there we have the sandwich. And what we'll do is take that over to the heating machine and heat it up a little bit and bend it. So I'll see you over there. Okay, here we are at the bending machine. This is a Blues Creek guitar bending machine that I got from them. Consists of a timer, a thermostat, a timer, and what I do is take this sandwich and stick it in the machine. It won't take very much to do this. It won't take very much heat, that is. This thing hooked up. Kind of bring it down. Make sure that I've got enough room there. Want to clamp this together so it'll hold the heat in pretty quick, pretty good. Now we will put these on. Plug the blanket in, plug it in. Got to put the back piece on here. Now we're actually ready to turn the heat on, and I'm going to put that on full to high, and I'm going to set this timer. We're going to watch this and just see a little bit of steam start to rise, and when a little steam starts rising, I'm going to push this into shape, and we're going to cut it off, let it set for a few minutes. Then I'm going to turn the heat back on it just to heat it up one more time, and then turn it off. And you can either let it dry in the form here, if you have time. You can take it out, put it in a different location, kind of keep it stable, and it'll set up. But you do need to let it dry before you glue it to the guitar, so that it doesn't shrink when it dries out. Okay, I'm not seeing any heat yet. Warming up. Okay. Watching for a little steam. I don't see any yet. And there goes my air compressor. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm seeing just a little steam coming out back here. See that? I'm going to go ahead, push this down close to where the middle would be. Take these clamps off. Put the front down there. We're going to pull the back. Things come off there now. Pull that down. Push it on down into the waist. I'm going to cut the heat. Now we'll just let that set. It'll set up. You can see where the steam's rising off of that. We'll let it set for a few minutes, and then we will come back and turn the heat on one more time. Okay, it's been a few minutes, so I'm going to heat this back up one more time. So I'm going to plug it in, get it on high. Going to do a little timer here. We're going to let it come back up to heat. We'll see a little steam maybe rise off of it once it heats back up. We're going to let it set there for just a couple minutes until it gets good and hot, and then we're going to unplug it again. Never, never, ever walk away from this and leave it when you're operating it, because there's so much potential for fire here. Of course, the timer will kick it off, but this thing gets hot, very hot. So just don't ever walk away from it. Just get in the habit of doing that. And it could prevent your shop from going up in smoke. Okay, I see the steam coming off back here on the back. So I'm going to let that heat just a couple of minutes. going to cut it off again. And just let that set. We'll let that set for a little bit, and then I am going to pull it out of the form and we'll take a look at it. Okay, we're ready to take this out, take the binding out and have a look at it. So I'm going to first let this pressure off and remove this. Also had some gloves on so I wouldn't get too burnt if it's still a little hot. This off there. Going to raise this up. Walk out of there. Just pull this out and just see what we got. We're getting a good picture of this. Let's see my stuff. Okay, there you have it. That probably took a full 15 minutes to do this. So that completes that bending of the binding. And the next thing, number 8, will be on putting a routing channel around, doing the tail wedge routing, and then also gluing in this beautiful maple binding. This is Gary Clardy, and thank you for joining me.